Hello friends, today I am going to narrate the story of Moni the Mongrel. Once upon a time, there was a little house on the green slopes of Vindhya mountains. Nobody cared to find out who had built it. For as long as the simple folks who lived in the village below could remember, it had always stood there alone and forgotten, much like an old maid who loved apart, loving nobody and loved by none. Moni the mongrel was different. He had once been chasing a fat field mouse. When jumping over a hedge, he had suddenly caught sight of this house and had fallen in love with it. So he was determined to find out its history. One afternoon, as he was nosing about among the trees that printed a lovely pattern all along the path leading to the house, he saw Madhu the mayfly darting away in great haste. Just a minute. Could you tell me something about this charming little house up there? Why is it always shut up? Said Moni. What's the use of asking me, my dear friend? Replied Madhu. I really commence to fly only for a few hours, and I must rush away as I have very short time to live. I am so sorry to hear this, said Moni. It must be terrible to have to be rushing about so much. I do not suppose you have many tomorrows or yesterdays in your life. No, but I don't care for them either. I prefer to live a short and full life. I have to lay my eggs now in the pond behind the house where I was born and then die quietly. Besides, when I was in the nymphal state, I crawled and swam and ate and played, just like all other creatures. And all I knew about this house even then was that it was always standing there. But why don't you ask Tulsi the turtle, who everybody says has lived so long in this pond? Said Madhu. Yes, I think I will do that. Thanks for the tip, said Moni the mongrel, kicking some dust behind him with his hind legs, which annoyed and shocked Madhu, who had never seen such bad manners in the presence of a lady. But Moni, poor fellow, was not a pedigree dog, and so nobody bothered to train him to behave correctly. He ran to the edge of the pond and gave 5 loud barks, one for each letter of the word Tulsi, and out came a huge lumbering turtle, bearing her muddy brown shell on her back. Excuse me for disturbing you, said Moni, but how old are you? Now the last thing a lady likes to be asked is her age, even if that lady happens to be a turtle. So Tulsi was quite offended, and turning her back on Moni, she quietly slipped into the pond again. Poor Moni could not understand why Tulsi was so difficult, and went away dejectedly, and stretched himself under the spreading oak a little further away. It was silly of you to have asked Tulsi her age, said Oak knew the oak. Why did you not come to me as if you wanted to know anything? After all, I am the oldest inhabitant of this hill. 500 years old, whereas Tulsi is only 125, which seems to being a little child before me. More than 500 years old? Repeated Moni in astonishment. You must indeed feel very, very old. No, not at all, said Oknu. I feel quite young. I maybe am still growing. My brothers and sisters in different parts of the world are still older. Kings have come and gone, and empires have been won and lost, but we live on, caring for nothing. And as for your knowledge, I may add that there are tremendous sequoias and old dragon trees who also live as long as we do. There is a dragon tree in Tenerife, in the Canary Islands, which is more than 1,000 years old. When an ancient Egyptian king was reigning on Tenerife cliffs, a seed was sown which grew into this great tree. Hearing all this, Moni felt quite dizzy, for he had never learned to count beyond 10, as arithmetic had not been his strong point. Besides, he had always believed that human beings lived the longest, and here was Oknu talking coolly about living for hundreds of years, as if they were just so many days. He was not at all sure if the oak was telling him the truth, or he had turned crazy. Moni looked up at the giant tree beside him, with its innumerable branches stretching upward to the blue heavens, and wondered if this bulk had grown from a tiny seed. "Is there anything more you wish to know?" asked the tree, noting the dog's eyes roving all over him. "Yes," said Moni, "there are many things I would like to know. But could you please tell me first who built this house yonder, and why don't people live in it anymore?" "That is a sad story indeed," said Oknu. "For about 90 years ago, a rich young man built it for his bride-to-be, who was as beautiful as she was sweet and gentle. But unfortunately, she died of a strange disease a few days before her marriage, and it has never been occupied since then. People believe that it is bound to bring ill luck to its owner, and so nobody wanted to purchase it. However, if you ask me, I think that they're all wrong, for generations of mice and lizards, not to mention all manners of insects, birds and bats, have found it a delightful place to live in, and if the young lady for whom it was built in visits it on moonlit nights, I hope she is sort of lady who will give me a bone sometimes," said Moni. "You are the silliest dog I have ever come across," said Oknu angrily. "Otherwise, you would have not expect a ghost to give you a bone." "What is a ghost?" asked Moni in surprise. "Wait till next full moon and you shall see for yourself. And now please let me alone for this autumn, and I have to see all that my branches shed their leaves properly." So Moni ran away. But as he has never been able to decide as to when the moon is quite full, he has never discovered anything more about the house. Thank you. Subscribe, like and share for more videos.